Hello, everyone. I am MelissaLeigh-Ann here at Barber Family Publishing, LLC. I'm here in North Carolina. I'm the author of a new children's book called ADHD, The Help We So Desperately Need. It focuses on the changing the stigma of ADHD as well as other mental health diagnoses. The release of my book is actually June 24th, 2021. So you can place orders online on Facebook or at barberfamilypublishing.com. I'm also the founder of the Orange Ribbon Club. So that is an establishment where we help families and we help people who have been diagnosed or living with ADHD or other mental illnesses. We actually founded that this year, so that's actually pretty new. We're pretty excited about that. So I'll actually include the link in the comments for you to like, share, and follow us on Facebook, and also to donate to our cause. Today, I have Stewart Jones with me. He's the author of Paddy Plum. How are you today, Stewart?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, and you?
I'm pretty well, thank you. So I don't want to spoil your book, but I am going to ask some pretty vague questions if I can keep it that way. I know you said that you actually published it in April of this year, right?
Yeah, it's been online now for just over a month now.
Okay, so why don't you tell me a little bit about your book?
Okay, well, the idea first came about when I was, it was actually a couple of years ago. I think it was about a year before COVID kicked off. And I was taking my son to bed one night, and he asked for a bedtime story, and I just made something up on the spot. And then the next day I just started to sort of refine it and see how far I could take it, and ended up with a self-published book.
That's amazing. A lot of mine come out that way too. I think I start off and say, hey, once upon a time, the end for my kids. How many children do you have?
I have 3 in total.
Okay, all boys or girls?
1 boy, 2 girls.
Nice. Okay. So let's see. You tell me how you came up with the idea for your book. So what was it like creating your masterpiece?
It was a really strange process because originally it was nothing like what it is in the book. Originally, it was, I don't know if it was like a limerick or something, but it was like all rhyming and stuff.
Okay.
And I had it in this rhyming format for a while. And it stayed like that for about 6 months or so. But unfortunately, I can't actually draw. So I had this idea and it didn't really go anywhere for a while. Then I started to refine it. I had a family member out in Australia she works for Scholastic Publishers. And she went through it with me, and she said, look, if you want to turn this into a book, you're going to have to put some more sort of depth into it and maybe consider dropping the rhyming concept. So I changed it and sort of fleshed the story out a little bit more. And then I was lucky enough then to find someone that was able to draw. But I think that was only, what are we in now, May? I found an illustrator December of last year. So between me initially doing it and December, the idea was just sort of in the back of my mind. I didn't really do anything with it because, like I said, I can't draw. So I couldn't do anything at the time. But as I said, lucky to get an illustrator in December, and then we started working on it in January then.
Okay, so how long did it take for your illustrator and you to come up with the ideas for the pictures and to actually put it into motion? Was that longer than actually coming up with the actual book, or was that about the same time frame?
No, it wasn't that long. I think Toby Duckfield, the guy who drew it for me, he started doing his first drawings in January, and he was sending stuff back and forth to me constantly. Sometimes like slightly changing pictures or doing different pages. And I think it was right up until the end, he was still sending me improved pictures all the time. So I had a lot of emails back and forth with him.
Okay.
But I think I ended up in total, it was about 100 images altogether with concept art and developing it and stuff.
Okay. So I've actually had the pleasure of reading your book. I actually loved it. Why don't you tell me a little bit, or tell our audience a little bit about what your book is about without spoiling too much?
Ah, well, right. So the book is called Paddy Plum and the Magic Pencil, and it tells the story of a little boy who loves to draw, and whenever he uses his magic pencil to draw, all his images come to life. But then something happens which changes things for Paddy, and then he has to figure out how he's going to overcome this obstacle.
Okay. I loved your book, by the way. So let me ask you this: with his magic pencil, are these objects actually coming to life, or is this just his imagination?
Well, that's a good question. See, with stuff like that, people have asked me that before, and I kind of like to let the readers decide that one, because I think it is open to interpretation. I think, some people could believe that it's a sort of almost like it's a metaphor, that it's not literally coming to life, that it's just all in the imagination of a little boy. Or it could also be the fact that these things are coming to life and this pencil is magical. But I like to let readers to decide that.
Okay. So I guess my next question would be, what makes this pencil magical? I know we didn't get that in the book, but I just kind of wanted to know that for myself.
It's a tricky one. Again, I never actually definitively thought up the reason why it was magical. I mean, I think some people might look at it and think maybe it's Paddy, maybe it's his mother's in this book and she shows a lot of support.
Mm-hmm.
It could be her providing the magic, or the actual pencil itself could be magical. I don't like to definitively say what it is. I like the idea of allowing people to make their minds up, because I think it can be different for everyone that reads it.
Okay. So will there be a sequel to Paddy Plum?
I hope so. I think it was such a long journey, sort of, from initially coming up with the idea to getting a printed book. It's something I'd definitely like to do again. And I think I'm curious to know what adventures Paddy Plum can go on next. Yeah.
So am I.
So
Okay. So you did self-publish, am I correct?
I self-published, yes.
What was that like? This was your first book, I assume?
Yeah, it's my first book. Yeah. It was interesting. I'd done a little bit of research into publishing. Initially, I was emailing actual publishing houses to see if they would take the idea on board. And I don't want to name the publisher, but there was a particular publisher that got back to me, and they gave me sort of a quote for how much it would be and what it would involve. I didn't particularly like their sort of idea or their sort of deal, so I opted for I went for self-publishing because I felt like it was more streamlined and more cost-effective for me.
Did it end up being more cost-effective for you as far as marketing materials and publishing print on demand? Was it more cost-effective?
Most definitely, yeah. I think, like I say, with self-publishing, it was print on demand. Marketing, that's something that I've just done through social media and through word of mouth. So that marketing wasn't really a costly issue.
Okay, so this would be the same path that you would follow again in the future, would be self-publishing as well, correct?
That is right, yeah.
Okay, so one more intimate question. Can you give me a rough idea about how much you actually spent while you self-published, including your marketing tools, all of that, print on demand, everything?
Well, do you know what? I was quite surprised at this myself. Nothing. I actually spent nothing on self-publishing at all.
Okay.
The great thing about, because I used Kindle Direct Publishing, which is Amazon's service, and the idea is that it's free to publish,
Mhm.
but you only get up to 70% of royalties for all sales that you make. So for me, like I say, the original publishers I spoke to, I was a vanity publisher, and they quoted me just over £1,000.
Got you.
So that was quite a shock when I heard that. And like I say, part of their deal with the vanity publishing was that I'd have no creative control over the illustrations and stuff. And I felt like for me, that was a lot of money to put into something, and also to have less creative control. To me, that didn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you so much, Stuart. This has been an amazing interview. I hope that you have an awesome day, and I will put your link in the comments below. Make sure you guys like, share, and follow us. Have a great day.
That's great. Thank you.